Salutations, Dufos. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming at you with a special presentation. Moving right along, having wonderful, beautiful conversations with wonderful, beautiful people. And it's going so well that I'm going to continue to do it as long as I feel the need to do it. And saying that, I have someone that you need to meet. Now, this person is a dear friend of mine. He's a model. He's an entrepreneur. He's a father. He is just an all-around amazing, amazing man. And we are catching him at work. So I am just so thankful that he could fit me in because he's working, as an entrepreneur. So without further ado, to get this started so he can get back to work, I would like to introduce you all to Jacques Whitfield.
Thank you. And
Hi.
salutations to you as well. I love you, and it's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. So first of all, you are the wind beneath my wings. I love you and I adore you, and I'm so grateful that I get to publicly acknowledge you to your fan base, just to say, in addition to all the fabulous things that the Queen of Shade is and more, I am just happy to call you friend.
Yes.
You've been so wonderfully influential for me in my modeling career, and everything that you have shared with me, I have incorporated it into my auditions and go-sees and all the things. And I'm so glad that you and I have a chance to get caught up. So happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
2022.
Yes.
What's going on, girl?
Well, it started off really crazy. My grandmother and I contracted COVID. And
God, I did too.
Yeah, okay. We have been vaccinated.
Yeah, same here. We're tracking as always. I was vaccinated. I am vaccinated. I am boosted. And for all of the holidays, I was in my condo quarantined, like New Year's Eve quarantine, day after Christmas quarantine.
Oh, wow.
And here's the other thing. I don't know what about you, but so this is what they say, whoever they is, well, if you're vaccinated and you're boosted, you'll get a milder version.
Yeah.
And that may be the case. And so I practice gratitude every day, as you know, as do you. But I have to tell you, this mild version really put me on my ass.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that. But in terms of my energy level, it took the full, my goodness, like 14 days to be feeling human again.
Jacques,
for me.
Jacques, I thought I was going to die.
Oh my God. Yeah.
They said it was mild. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And my grandmother said to me, because she's still dealing with it. She's coming out of the throes. I was able to come back to the camera. I'm feeling a little better. But we looked at each other and said, if this was mild, what did those poor people go through?
Exactly. That's the same thing I said.
Yeah.
That's the same thing I said, DJ, in terms of,
yeah,
if this is mild, my
then
goodness,
what
first
the
of
hell?
all, even more gratitude, but even more compassion, even more expressions of love for all of those millions, and it is millions of people, not just in this country, but all around the world, who have been adversely impacted.
Jacques,
so
that mucus.
Oh, girl.
I couldn't breathe. I was like, and I mean, it was like literally, I got up to go to the bathroom because I was downing vitamin C orange juice. I was downing orange juice. And I had to take Advil for the pain. And then we got one of my girlfriends, she knows herbs and stuff. So she got us, she put us onto this lung detox that you can get on Amazon. And I don't have the bottle near me. Actually, I'm going to show you. Yes, I'm getting up.
Okay.
I'm going to show you because
I love it.
I want people to actually know this. This lung detox. They ain't paying me, but hell, I got to show you. This, where's the camera? This lung, hold on, let me see if it focus.
Yeah, right there. Stop. Yeah, lung cleanse.
Okay. Yes. This got rid of the mucus. This broke up like when I tell you it broke up everything, I was like, oh my God, like, and that was mild. And then my grandmother, like I felt like somebody was stepping on my head. Like I felt like the pain of the headaches. And I just was like, Lord, please. Like I was worried for me, but I was worried for my grandmother the most. Like my grandmother was like, oh, like I was so worried. And she's still having, like me, I stopped coughing.
Mhm.
Me, I stopped coughing up the phlegm, stuff like that. She's still down. She's still in the bed. She's still tired. And I'm like, and she's 74. And I'm just like, oh God, it was a lot. So for that to be a milder case, I'm glad that we both came through it, but we really did have each other. Like we
Yeah.
really did.
Right.
And what
Right.
happened, Jacques, we didn't leave our house.
So I've got a funny story to tell you, BJ. So,
Yes.
and again, in all acknowledgement to my children, you mentioned I'm a
Yes.
father. Yes, I am. So I have 4 young adult, amazing millennial children.
Yes, you
My
do.
youngest is a musician living in New York City.
Yep.
And so everyone, all the kids came back to California
Yeah.
for the holidays, right?
Yep.
So my youngest son had at some sort of event, and all his friends are vax and boosted too, but they had the event. And I think that's where the exposure happened, because Christmas Day, we were all together. By the day after Christmas, girl, all of us had COVID except my daughter. Ashley found a way to be in the space. Exactly. Ashley has superpowers anyway.
She does. She's a rock star. She's a rock star.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, how did my daughter manage to be in such close proximity with all of us? Because the 3 boys, myself, and my ex-wife all were laid out with COVID over the remainder of the holidays. So we were all, I was in my condo. They were all at my ex-wife's place downtown. And literally it was, and I'll tell you, and you and I have talked about this before, in terms of mental health awareness, mental well-being, even in the mild state. And I'm here in California, so it's not like I'm snowed in or anything like that. But I'll tell you, the mental wellness impact of being alone over the holidays for 10 plus days was impactful for me. And there were times, and I practice all the things, right? I had to pull out all the stops. It was, I could only imagine what other humans were going through who didn't have access, who didn't have resources, who didn't have support. And support in the form of people, support in the form of, medicine, food, all the things. So again, it just made me, as I approached 2022, just very, very grounded, very, very grateful, very intentional about how I get to move on the planet. And I know we'll talk more about that, but absolutely.
But that's what it did, because we got it. Like my nephew and his girlfriend are here with us. They just got their own place. It's their first place. But it's around the corner from us. So they got their first place. And so they were bunking out here, and they work overnight in New Jersey, because I'm in Philly. So they take the hour ride to work. And it was an outbreak at their job. And then before it was contained, they were home here with us. So we didn't even leave the house, and we were affected. And it was just like, and I was so worried, because we for the whole 2 years of the lockdown and everything else, we were so careful, because my grandmother was the biggest concern. And like literally, we were tracking symptoms. She was a day behind me. She literally got, like, I guess, infected, like maybe hours after me or a day after me, because literally I went through everything first. And that was so divine, because I went through everything first, so I knew what she was going to go through. So I was able to tell her. And
that was a blessing, right?
Yeah, that was a blessing. And just as I said, I'm like, okay, I had this yesterday, she would have it the day after me. And it just was like, oh my God. But needless to say, we're all grateful. We're all alive. We're all doing what we need to be doing. We're taking our vitamins. We're exercising. We're doing what we need to do. We're eating good food, and, just making sure, drinking tea, just making sure everything is all right. So you've already hinted. Tell these people where you're from.
So I was born in New York City. I grew up in North Carolina, where Lumberton, North Carolina, of all places. And for the last 35 years, I've lived in California. So I'm a naturalized Californian. I live in Sacramento, California now. When I moved here, I lived in Los Angeles. So I lived in Los Angeles for 5 years in Lower West Hollywood, right off Kings Road and Melrose, to be specific. And I still have, my sister still lives in LA. I still have cousins and family in LA. I obviously go to LA for work as well as, to have fun. So, and now technically, BJ, I'm bi-coastal, so I'm living both in California and in North Carolina, where I am working with my sister to be of service and support to our mother, who turns 80 years old this year. So the pandemic has created a whole lot of newness for me and for my family. And so far, knock on wood, we are rising to the occasion. So yeah.
And you know what? That's so good to hear too. But I was gonna say, all of your children, I've even seen your ex-wife on social media, and it's like all of you have this looming positive attitude. Like, I love that. Like it is you can tell you put it in your children and they carry it too. And I love that. I love the whole family, every single one of you guys, it's not forced. You have a positive outlook on life.
Thank you for that acknowledgement.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, and we get that question a lot. People think and girl, how shady some of the children can be.
Yes.
And it's like they think it's not real. And it's like,
it's
no,
real.
We've gone through everything other humans have gone through.
Yeah.
We've made, let me personalize, because I get to speak about me. I've made all the mistakes twice, all the epic failures. And what I decided was that I get to choose love.
Yeah.
I get to choose grace. I get to choose connection for myself and for others. And so it's not about, what did we do wrong? Absolutely every fucking thing, if I can say that.
Yes, you can.
And what we did right is that we chose love. We chose and constantly choose connection. And we recognize what's truly important. And I'm so grateful. And you and I have shared this a lot over, all of the breakdowns in our life that had led to breakthroughs and very, very powerful breakthroughs. Yes. And we're just honest about it. And one thing I found, that there's so much freedom in that transparency. And it's like, I don't give a fuck what y'all think about me. Exactly. But I know what I think about myself, and I know the love that we created and co-create with each and every one of my family. And so that's what and it is magical and it is special. And there are days I pinch myself, because I'm like, wow, I've been so blessed to have the best of all worlds, as an openly gay Black man in these United States, and to be blessed with children, and to be blessed with, just the opportunities that I get to do and be me. And even though all the breakdowns that we've had and all the epic failures that we've had, they don't define me. It is just an indicator that I have been on this earth and I have been living my life, and I haven't phoned it in. So if I'm in it, I'm all the way in it.
Exactly.
Win, lose, or draw. And so my way of being now it's not about winning or losing, but winning or learning. There's always a growth opportunity. No matter how fucked up it looks.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. My grandmother asked about you the other day. And she was like, she was like, I love him. She was like, it's modeling and everything. And she's like, he's really beautiful. And I'm like, yes, men work the older we get. So
and you told me that. And and again, y'all listen to BJ if you have not signed up for any of his platforms. Definitely the coaching. I'm a huge advocate for. You want this human as your coach to get where you need
Thank
to get.
You. Thank you.
Real talk.
No,
real
I
talk.
know. That's
because
why
some
I
of
said
your experience, what your experience is what you shared with me when you were in Paris. Again, I bring that into I had a virtual audition this morning. Wow. And I presenced some of your nuggets, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it this way and that way. And just I think the beautiful thing that I really love about you is that you are not afraid to take risks.
Exactly.
That I love your life journey so much that you have been, you know, if it's to be, it's up to you to co-create your life. And and just that fearlessness is so beautiful. It's so inspiring. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that too, you know, and in whatever area we are. Yeah.
I had to. Society and life was trying to hand me lemons, and I had to make a lemon meringue pie. Like I had to, not just lemonade. I had to, I had to do that. And it's funny that you mentioned Paris, because I have interviewed two of my friends from Paris that I met when I went. So yes, and they are super famous now. So they're super famous, and 17 years later, they're looking at me and they said, you figured it out. You figured it out for yourself. You figured it out. And I'm just like, it wasn't easy. Like they said it in the interview. I'm like, it wasn't easy. Like it was so hard. But they were like, you figured it out, and we applaud.
But isn't it worthwhile? Isn't it so worthwhile when you do figure it out and know it's how we get to where we need to be is how we get there. And the universe is so gracious and so loving and kind, and there are multiple correct answers, and we get to find the correct answer. That
there's no one way. I learned
that. But when you get there and you know it, you really know it.
Yeah,
right.
You do, because everything looks, you know, it's so funny, even on this side of the successes that I'm having now, everything really looks the same. Mm-hmm. Not so blown out of proportion. My grandmother said to me, like, I had to think about that. My grandmother said, because I'm doing a lot. So my grandmother, she said to me, she was like, you know, you just finally see, like, you're still traveling. You're still on your road to success. And you just see the light. You see the light at the end of the tunnel now. It's no longer in the distance. You're coming out of the tunnel now.
Right.
And she said that to me yesterday.
Yeah, I had one of my, actually my sister-in-law, she and I were talking just the other day, and she's like, oh my God, how you bounce from coast to coast. And I said, you know, I never really thought about it, but it's just work. But I think the key, and you've said this in many of your posts and many of your trainings. Yes. It's all about perspective. Yeah. And that shift in perspective. And we say the same thing in the transformational leadership development space. It's all, if you can shift that perspective and you can find a positive angle or a positive lens through which to see your lived experience, whatever that is, there's always an opportunity. There's always an opportunity to elevate to that next level, you know? And I think, when I see you and when I experience your journey, that's what I'm always reminded of. That's so refreshing.
But you know, you're absolutely right, because, you know, my therapist, I had therapy this morning via the telephone. And a lot of people say that to me, and and to be honest, if I really think about it, let's say what they say. They're always like, you're positive, you know, you've had a lot of things happen in your life, good or bad, and you have chosen to not be bitter. You have chosen to still move forward. You have chosen not to be defeated. And it's so true. Like, I didn't even realize at first. Now looking back in hindsight, I do. But at first I didn't even realize when I made a decision. I knew, now looking back, the decision was, well, I can't stay here, so I guess I got to keep going. That was the decision. And the divine gave me later in years an analogy. And the analogy was, you're driving in a car on a road. It's a long road. You know, you may pass stores and you may pass other things, but you stop the car. There's nothing wrong with your car. You stop the car and you get out. You look around. You're on the side of the highway. You can't stay here. There's no provision for you here. You must continue to your point of destination. That's what the divine said to me. You can't, there's no, and that was the thing. He kept saying to me, you have to keep going because you're driving and there's no provision for you here. So you have to keep going. Even Jacques, even when I wanted to quit, I couldn't quit because there was no provision for me here.
I hear you.
I had to keep driving.
I hear you.
Crying and, you know, snotting the tears and the messing up the makeup and the wig and the hair and the dress. And I'm just driving like, I can't stop here. I can't stop here. And,
I love it.
And the universe was right.
Can I ask you a question? And I know you and I've talked, so you joggled something in my memory. I had a similar experience. And oftentimes when people ask you the question, when did your journey begin? Because I get that.
Yeah.
And I've had to change my response, but I want to know, how do you, because I believe your journey began from the moment you got here. And
true.
But and because I often say, I used to say, oh, I've been on this transformational journey for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But then I had to rethink that, because even the stuff that got me to the point, to all the breakdowns that brought me here, that I realized I needed to transform my life, that's part of the journey too.
Yeah.
And so
get this. I'm gonna throw just a little monkey wrench.
I knew you would. That's why I brought it into the space.
Your journey, yes, it began at conception. You were sent here to do, and people have to believe that, that we were sent here to do mighty great things.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
Get this, you're on this journey, and everything that's happening to you is happening and is going to serve you. But your journey begins the moment you become aware. That's the difference.
Okay.
See, I was on my journey, and all those experiences made me tough and strong. But when I became aware of myself, and aware of my surroundings, and aware of what was going on, that's when the journey really began for me. Because that awareness as to, and it really was a self-awareness. It was a self-awareness when I realized you're different. You want different things. You look at things in life differently. That was the moment. And it was like, let's further explore this. Let's look at this more. Now I'm aware. Now, now I'm aware. Now I'm taking stock. Now I'm looking at all the experiences that I went through. Now I'm looking at everything that built me and made me and brought me to this point. You see? And I'm processing it differently, because I'm like, okay, that hurt, but that prepared me for this. That prepared me for that. That prepared me for this. But that awareness moment, I woke up. When did I wake up? You know what's so crazy? I woke up 6 years ago. The Queen of Shade turned 6 on New Year's Day. I woke up 6 years ago. When I woke up, that's when I started the Queen of Shade and literally turned on my camera for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, I woke up and I realized, oh, it ain't business as usual. Something's different. And I had been, because I've been in the entertainment industry for 20 years. So I was like, okay, I've been chasing this dream and chasing that dream, and went to Paris and saw London and this and that and this and music. Came back to New York. Okay, music on a silent record label. No, that wasn't my moment. I wasn't awake then. I was doing it, trying to make my dreams happen. But look at that. I wasn't awake and I was dreaming. You see that?
Right.
But then the moment I became aware, I was awake, and I stopped dreaming and started doing.
Right. I love what you said about self-awareness. And you, of course, but you have really said a mouthful. Self-awareness is a critical element, an essential element of emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills. But that self-awareness, recognizing that you are, I think, therefore I am. That whole philosophy of recognizing and being able to step out of yourself. Like, we're all pictures in a frame. But like your friend and my friend and Angel Garen Jones says, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, right?
Yeah.
So being able to step out of that frame, turn around and see, oh, I'm a picture in this frame. And so the characteristics of birth and circumstances created the me, the Jacques, the BJ, and recognizing that is our connection to the rest of humanity, that by virtue of birth and circumstances, we are who we are, right?
And you know, I learned this in therapy, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We are all familiar with that. You know, there's
Absolutely.
love, there's money, there's family. At the very tippy top of that pyramid is self-actualization. Most people do not reach that in their lifetime.
Most humans don't.
Yes,
you're right.
Most
Right.
humans don't. My therapist taught me this. But get this, being a Black man, being effeminate, being a transillusionist,
Mm-hmm.
being gay. I was forced, and so are all of us that are gay and lesbian, forced to look at ourselves and grab our identities because the world doesn't offer us one.
Amen.
The children, the community, there are more self-actualized people in our community than any other community because we are left to our own devices. We are
100%.
ostracized, we are cast out, we are told you're not welcome here. So we have to learn ourselves because sometimes all we have to sit with is ourselves. And that forces that self-actualization to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then we stand up for ourselves and say,
absolutely.
I am this, you're going to respect me, I am that. And that's where that place comes from. See, I love talking to you. We have no real,
right.
They're going to love this. Yeah, this is real. This is real. We have no real conversation.
Right. No, and you know, I think the opportunity for our children and our community, we get to normalize this.
Yes.
Because again, at 58 years young.
Yeah, 39.
Right, you know, but we've been on this journey for a while. And I have to say, I can count the number of Black role models for me on 3 fingers.
Yeah.
And I know exactly who they are.
Yeah.
You know, and so what my heart's desire is, what my heart's song is, that as we continue to grow and evolve, that my generation and your generation will be more supportive of younger generations and be more welcoming and be more opening and be more less judgmental. You know, the Prada's great, the Gucci belt is great, the Louis Vuitton is great, all the zhuzh that we know how to do, cute. But what's more important is human connection. What's more important is validation. What's more important is acceptance and acknowledgement that however you come into the rainbow space, you are welcomed here, and we acknowledge and affirm you, and we celebrate you. And we get to end that whole you know, that whole mindset that we're in.
It's a cycle.
And it's a vicious one, and it's one that doesn't serve us. And I'd like, and the way I move in this space and beyond, as I contemplate my mortality. I know one day I'm going to transition. I am not going to be on the planet anymore. But you know what? But so BJ, here's the thing. And this is statistically shown, and my life coach and my therapist shared these statistics with me, that in America, we think other people die. We never really presence to the fact that we are going to die. We are going to transition. Because if we did, we would live our lives differently. If we did, there's so much shit that we say and do that we wouldn't do. And we would put our energy into things that bring life, that bring healing, that bring connection, that bring understanding. Because that's what it's all about. And I mean, and when you look at my family, that's what my family is. My family is just a group of humans who have decided that love and connection and unlimited possibilities is more important than all the other bullshit that we've been doing. And we're like, and you know what? And we don't have to ask your permission.
Exactly.
We're not asking your permission.
Exactly. You know, I remember being in Paris, and I remember sitting on my friend Philippe's floor, and I had just come back from the shows for the day, and there were more shows. It was Fashion Week for the women. And I remember sitting there having a fucking panic attack. I remember sitting on his floor, and this was before I knew I had acute anxiety disorder, but I was fucking flipping out, like literally coming undone, unglued on his floor. Like, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to get to this person, I need to get to that person. And he looked at me, and I gotta remember how he said this. He said, "You Americans work too hard. you don't enjoy life, and you work to live. Was it work to live? No, you live to work instead of working to live. And I never forgot that he said that to me. He said, take a breath, go for a walk, fall in love. Like he said, he's French. So he said, fall in love. And I'm like, I don't have, my immediately was like, romance without finance is a nuisance. I can't afford to be in love. Like that's what I hit him with. And he was like, and he just shook his head.
Yeah.
He just shook his head. And he was like, you're going to die young if you keep this mentality.
Right.
And I never forgot that he said that to me. And, thinking about it now, I have to be honest, I'm still a workaholic. My life is filled with work, but the reasons are different. But at the same time, I say things to my grandmother like, listen, I done built this. I didn't build this to work like this for the next 20 years of my life. I need to be able to accrue passive income so I can go sit on somebody's couch in the Caribbean somewhere. Like it did change because this was the hardest thing I've ever done.
And can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Because I hear what you're saying, but my experience of you is more like Van Gogh or Picasso, that you are an artist who is driven and passionate, but that's not, I understand what you're saying when you use the nomenclature workaholic. But when I think of workaholic, I see someone in an office who's just like got their head buried and like working for the sake of work, where for you and so many of us, it's your creative passion, it's your artistic energy that propels you, that drives you forward.
But you know what?
So that's a different energy, isn't it?
It is a different energy, but I tend to lock myself in my room. Like I'm one of those.
Oh, like well, when you're driven, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what? Thank you for saying that, because I've never really had people acknowledge that in a positive light. And I've always explained it away, but I like the way that you said that, because a light bulb went on. Why can't I be driven?
Right. And I'll tell you, it's a little self-serving because I feel the same way about myself. Because I used to be a workaholic in the office, and I was so focused on the tasks, literally not being able to see the forest for the trees, right? I am now in a space where I love all the things I get to do. I get to model, I get to consult, I get to consult, I get to train, I get to travel all around, back and forth. And so that's a different energy. I'm not looking at that as work. I'm looking at that as me joyfully and passionately pursuing my desires.
Passion. Yeah, I was
my passion.
Your passion.
And that's a difference, because I go to bed every night like you. When you go to bed, well, in the morning, because I know how you work through the night.
I love it. I never lay down. I never lay down. And I'm like,
it's so satisfying. Like this is satisfying. All of the opportunities, whenever I get the opportunity to connect with other humans, and we get an opportunity to co-create something special, something unique, something wonderful, something magical, like this moment. This isn't work. This is magic. And this is reflective of why you and I were put on the planet.
Ding dong. Ding, 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 ding. Somebody rang the doorbell. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I thank you for that, because I think I classified myself. Now look at this. I can be honest, and I love transparency. I classified myself a workaholic because of the complaints of people around me.
But again,
working. You never have time for me. I don't see you. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, well, I'm busy. But now that I'm looking at it from this new angle, I'm like, I just love what I do. Oh, well, do you love that more than me? Yes. Just for me. For me.
Right.
Yes.
And love gets, and people think, and I know you and I have talked about this before.
Yes.
People think that there are these finite concepts of love. And love is infinite. So
it is.
And there's so many humans that encounter humans like you and I, and they don't have our way of being, thinking, understanding, and they think that everything's limited.
Yeah.
It's like, It's not like DJ has only a limited amount of love and
Right.
it's like, oh, well, at the end of loving my career and loving my journey, you only get this much. It's like, no, you get an abundant supply of love. You have an abundant supply of love for your
Right.
passions and for your work and all the
Right.
things. It's like, even in relationships, I mean, where I am now, and I used to think there will be this one true love. Well,
Right.
2 marriages later, I realized that ain't right. And it's not like, oh, I no longer love my ex-wife. Oh, I no longer
Right.
love my ex-husband. No,
Right.
I've loved them abundantly. And
Right.
you know, men I've dated in the
Yeah.
past, if I ever said I love you, newsflash, if I ever said I love you, I still
meant
love
it.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant
Yeah.
it. It's not like, well, I don't love so and so. I'm like, do people really realize the magnitude of love, what the love energy is? That's like abundance.
Yeah.
It's infinite.
Yeah.
You know, people think, and then the workaholic thing, people think I've got to work for money when they don't realize that money, that finances is just, it's energy. It is an outcome. It's a byproduct.
I was going to say byproduct.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, you coached me, so of course we would say the same thing. But it's a byproduct.
It's a
right.
byproduct.
And I'm working with my life coach right now. We're doing these beautiful mantras and these beautiful affirmations in the space of abundance.
Yes.
And it really is, we're doing them for 40 days you know, as we begin the new year, and we're on probably day 12 now. And it's so like now, like after 7 days, something clicked, BJ, where it's like, holy shit, this is like resources, opportunities, just finding the way. And you know what? Universally, that's how the universe is constructed. And if we're just still enough, and we are sensitive enough and open enough to get it, it all flows your way.
Alignment.
Alignment. It's all, ooh, that is my word.
Yeah.
It's all about alignment. Not so much agreement, because agreement carries judgment, but alignment.
Alignment.
Can you and I mutually align around points of interest without judgment? So that we both get to win. Can you and I create the win-win?
And you know, it's so funny. I love when you describe love like that, because I can do that all day.
Absolutely. And you know what? Most humans can.
Yes.
But whenever you put this white transatlantic Christianity framework in it and say, even though there have been, you know, that humans have been the dominant species on the planet for the last 70,000 years. That's 70, 0, 0, 70,000. And Christianity as an organized religion is only about 1,500 years old. So you got 70,000 years versus 1,500 versus the monogamy part, which is probably 400 or 500, 600 years old at the max. And it's like, but this ain't how this is not how humans interact.
You checking all my boxes right now, because it's not like, you know what's so crazy? Like, even on the monogamy thing, the moment I came into my success, I was like, I have the freedom to be or not be. And it made me I no longer wanted one person. I wanted experiences with multiple people. I wanted experiences. That's what I wanted. I wanted to make memories. All of these people I don't have to sleep with. But, you know, like, I wanted different memories. I wanted to, and that's one thing I love about my job, because it's the same thing. I have different experiences with different people.
Exactly.
And they're so beautiful. And I'm an experienced person like that. That is my thing. That is what moves me more than anything, because I believe that we grow by the experiences that we have, by the people that we meet. Like, we learn things, you know?
Absolutely.
Like,
I was going to say, and we were created for human connection. And again, when you look at the arc of human existence, that Homo sapiens for the last 70,000 years have been communal and have been tribal and have been in groupings, and this nuclear concept that is reflective of a practice that is not native to people who look like you. In fact, it's not native to most humans. And so I have given myself permission to be me. I've given myself permission to say, hey, and again, you and I don't have a scarcity mindset or scarcity mentality, so it's not like, well, there's only enough for you. And again, use parenthood as an example. I had my daughter, Ashley's the oldest, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, I didn't think I could love another human being the way I love Ashley until Chase was born. And guess what? I love him when James came along. I love him when Josh came along. I love him. And it's not like, well, I've got to slice up the pie. There's an infinite amount. And that's what, and at the minute we leave that scarcity mindset behind us, there's so much that becomes possible for us.
Do you know,
and you're so reflective of that. Again,
do you know what I tell myself? Like, because get this, sometimes I'll have interactions with guys online, and I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to give them exposure. I'm trying to, because, you know, I'm still, my dream of still having a boutique modeling agency is there. We had to close our doors because of COVID, but now we're looking at, you know, places overseas where it should have been in the first place. So I'm in talks now. Now it's like in talks to leave. Before it was just manifesting. Now, no, it's like, okay, you come here, we can do this. So it's so crazy because I tell myself, like, sometimes even when these guys, sometimes these interactions, and not most, like not a lot, but every now and then I'll have an interaction that goes wrong. And I used to feel really slighted because I'm like, I lost that look in my book. Like I lost that look. I lost that brand. I lost that image. And then something happened to me a couple of years ago. I realized, I said, every single day, some beautiful young man turns 18. Some beautiful young man turns 21. And then what I realized, and I got this from fashion, is I realized if I like that bone structure, I can go find it again. May not be the same personality, but if I find the bone, like if I'm looking for a look, I can find that look again.
Absolutely.
I can create it.
Yeah, there's 7.5 billion people on the planet Earth.
So again, I got rid of that. He was the only one. I lost him. I'm hurt. No, sweetheart. I'm gonna find 3 younger ones that look like you.
Boom. And maybe 2 older ones.
Yeah. Right.
Some beautiful man is about to turn 60.
Right. And you're a model. And you ain't time. I'm gonna pick a good picture. They're gonna be like, oh my God. My grandmother, her favorite picture of you, of course, is when you're sitting on the top of the chair and you had your sneakers on. She loves that picture. Because she says to me all the time, BJ, that's a beautiful man. That's a beautiful man. She's like, look at him. There's no age on him, but you know, when you find out his age, you're like, wow. And she says that all the time. She's like, wow, what an amazing life.
Shout out to Stephen S. Williams, my photographer in LA, who
you know, that. Yeah. Like, no, like amazing. And it's so true. Like I learned to stop getting hung up on, and you know what, this would help a lot of women and a lot of men too.
Oh my God, live there. In fact, you can do a whole series on this because how many beautiful queens, how many beautiful sisters that we encounter, that the mindset that they have is that there are no fill in the blank, good fill in the blank. I've got to move here because, and it's like, wow, those are limiting beliefs. Yeah. Take off the blinders, take off the barriers and allow the universe to flow. Because you can find whatever you need whenever,
wherever, whenever.
Oh my God!
That's the thing.
Yeah. And so, a funny story, and I think I may have shared this with you. When one of the stories I told myself was that far more, as an openly gay Black man, far more opportunities to create connection with other like-minded men in California than in North Carolina.
Right.
Girl, why did I get to North Carolina and in Lumberton, not like I'm not talking about the big cities like Charlotte or Raleigh or Durham or Greensboro, like little towns. Yeah. They have some of the finest motherfuckers I've ever seen. I'm like, wait a minute, where did you come from? How you in South Carolina, Dillon, South Carolina?
Listen, let me tell you something. We all know if you want a good looking man, you go south. We all know.
Right. And I was like, whoa. oh, and again, just the encounters of other, but it's energy. It's all about energy. And because if that's what I'm vibrating, that's what I'm going to produce around me. That's what I'm going to manifest. That's what I'm going to attract. And, you know, for all of you who are saving up your money I got to move here, I got to move there because I can't find fill in the blank.
No.
Energy is everything.
Yeah.
And energy glows where energy flows. Garen says that a lot too, and it's true.
Yeah.
And when you recognize that, you're like, wow, I am a creator.
Yeah.
I am a creator, and I create my surroundings.
Everything.
And so exactly. And then you realize the power of choice, right?
Yeah. It's really big. No, it's really big. And I'm glad that you think that way, because that's kind of a God-man idea.
It is exactly a God-man
idea because you understand your creativity and your power.
Absolutely.
Look at what you did. You created a whole beautiful family.
Absolutely.
You know? Absolutely. Like you wanted that, you created that, you know, and you have that to this day. And though things may have changed and evolved in your life, you still get to have this beautiful family that comes along for the journey as long with you. You know, with you. And that's the thing, like, you know, the crazy thing is, my therapist this morning, we started a genograph and we were looking at my family, and I'm the family historian. I remember everything.
You and I have talked about that. Yeah.
Yes, I remember everything. So she's asking me questions and I'm filling them in about my grandfather, my mother, my father, my, you know, my sisters, my brothers, their children. And she's like, wow, you know a lot. But she said to me, she said, you know, there's a lot, I can see that there are generations of trauma here. And I was like, yeah, but they end with me. They end with me. And she was like, yeah, you're right, because you chose to do, because the pattern of the family was they're traumatized and they traumatize others. You know, hurt people hurt people. Exactly. So with me, my attitude is, I've been hurt. Let me share this and teach people how to avoid it, combat it, live through it, get through it, become empowered, become strong. Like I used it and turned it into so many different things, so many different experiences. And, you know, even with that, it's sad that my family hasn't stepped up to the plate yet, but I don't know what will happen. That's why I said yet. I don't know what will happen. I probably won't be around for that. But, you know, they still have an opportunity to do that. You know, they still have an opportunity to do that. And I bring these beautiful anagrams and analogies and perspectives to the world. I would hope that one day my family would be able to get what they need as well.
Right.
You know, so that's something. So tell us. All right, here we go. So I said you're an entrepreneur. Tell us about Herbalife. How long?
So I have been in Herbalife. I've been an Herbalife distributor for going on 9 years.
There's a reason I'm asking.
Okay.
That's why.
So for 9 years, it's been a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
Before I came to Herbalife, I was working as a college administrator.
Yes.
I was married. I was in my second marriage, and you know, I was feeling my age. You know, I was feeling like the late 40s, kind of slow, sluggish. I'd always been, you know, health conscious. I'd always been nutrition focused. But I had tried a number of modalities, and I was looking for something that really fit in with my lifestyle. And you know, I came to Herbalife. It was wonderful. You know, I noticed all this energy. I noticed that my body began to transform, because I never wanted to be a distributor. I just got I got the distribution for the discount. You know, I always like a good deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, lo and behold, as I started and I noticed my own personal transformation, it was my daughter, Ashley, who said, hey, Dad. She was in San Francisco State as a student at the time. Yeah. And she said, you know, I have friends who are asking for this stuff. Do you sell this? Or can you give me the hookup so I can sell? I'm like, yeah, girl. And before you knew it, you know, I was, you know, a full-fledged distributor. And it's been a beautiful journey and has exposed me to a whole wealth of beautiful people who are all focused on becoming the best versions of themselves. And they're powerful and joyful and uplifting, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made.
The reason why I asked you that is because you are beautiful.
Oh.
And you take such good care of your body, and they see that as you trust me, I'm going to put all your links so they can see all this stuff, so they can see. The reason why I asked is because, like you said, like we've been talking, you've created your lifestyle. And even in your entrepreneurial ventures and choices and decisions, you chose things that aligned with your wants, needs, and desires. That's the only reason I asked you to speak about that, was because, health conscious and, the body and beautiful, because you can't have fun if your body's broken down.
Right. And the other thing, and I specialize in working with people who are 40 and over. Oh, because good. I love destroying those limiting beliefs, because and again, growing up in the South, and you and I've talked about this, where people said, oh, well, I'm at this age in my life, and so that means it's okay if this and this and this happens. Now, I'm all about body positivity. Let's first and foremost. And as I work with clients all across the country, it's all about being the best, your best self, whatever that is. We're not looking at some, image and saying, hey, you've got to look like this, that is reflective of white body supremacy or any of those things. It's like, no, being the best you. And in that sense, it comes, and you mentioned something else. I love what you said, and you said it far more eloquently than I can, but about our ability to create our lives and create our worlds and create that God-like energy. We get to manifest ourselves from the inside out. And so what I've seen, BJ, is that I look differently. I look more alignment with myself now, with my inner being now, than I did when I started 9 years ago. And that's the magic that you're like, I'll be damned. Wow.
Right. That's why I brought it up. Because I wanted them to understand that even as we're talking and you make the decisions to change and grow and evolve, you have to then, like we've been saying, go about creating your lifestyle, your environment. And some people say, oh, I don't know where to start. Start with you. If you start with you, absolutely. You start with you, then everything else, you'll, and this is another thing that people don't believe, it is magic. You'll be like, the reason why I asked is because you will be drawn to things that align with who you are, things that align with what you want to do. Herbalife has some of the most beautiful people in it. Like we said, Garen is like, he came online and thanked me for 15 years of supporting his career.
Wow.
And I was like, right now he had a baby, so I can't get to him now to interview, but I'm going to. But he, like, just him and other people like him and you, and it's just, the energy is so organic and authentic.
It is. Absolutely.
I brought that up because I just wanted people to understand that once you make the decision, because it's not always easy, but you make the decision, then you have to formulate, you have to you have to make your life.
Absolutely. Can I tell you something? I'm not only a friend, I'm a fan. I really am a fan. I love your interviews. I loved your interview with, I was trying to think of his government name, but I know it's for Deep Dick.
Oh, yeah.
But again, and of course, I've watched him for years, and he's one of my.
Yes, he's amazing.
If you don't have his OnlyFans,
you better go.
But I love how his lived experience, how his journey, he's parlayed that to other opportunities.
He has,
and now with the clothing line that he has. I have nothing but positive things to say about the, and it is nice. One thing I love what you do. You bring human context to celebrity. And I love how you have made him, because I know him personally as well. And I know him to be a warm, loving, very kind human being. And I love what you created on the screen, that the world goes, God, this brother is so cool. And there's so many, and you've interviewed everyone that you've interviewed is awesome, but that one sticks up in my mind.
Yeah, because you know him.
Yeah,
you know him, and it's like, wow,
yeah.
I know this beautiful human.
Yeah,
you know,
and again, and it's about occupying the space.
Yeah.
Without judgment. So many of us have judgment. We judge ourselves. You were talking about self-awareness. We got all this self-judgment bullshit that is only serving to hold us back.
Yes.
And who would be, the question I remember asking myself, who would I be if I eliminated all of this self-guilt, self-judgment, self-loathing? What if I truly embraced me and I embraced my freckles and my buck teeth and my gray hair and all the things? But you know what? But I got signed at 56 years old to a modeling agency. That happens. You know, when the story we tell ourselves, oh, well, if I'm over 25, then no, boo-boo, you get to create what do you want to create, and then go create it.
Yeah. My grandmother, she said that to me all the time. He's a model. He's a model. He got signed. She knows it. She got signed at 56. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he's going to continue to work well on past this.
Right. And that's the vision I see for myself. You and I have done some wonderful visioning and coaching exercises. And I get, and what's in your DNA? What's in your being? It's in there. It's like they say at church, I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around.
Right.
You know, I'm set. I know exactly where I'm going. And
exactly.
Absolutely.
But listen, I know you have to get ready to go because I know you have more work to do. So give me 3 words that encourage and inspire you.
The first word is grace.
Yeah.
Unmerited favor.
That's a good one.
I presence myself, and the work that I'm doing right now with my life coach, DeMarco, and I are doing some fabulous things in the space of grace.
Yeah.
And grace is the foundation that holds me here. So that's the first thing that inspires me.
Yeah.
The second one is love.
Yeah.
And like true unconditional love. When I learned to love myself without judgment, I became a new being. I became a new being.
I did too.
I became a better father. I became a better brother. I became a better human.
Yes.
A more effective, a more connected human.
Yes.
And loving myself through my mistakes.
Yes.
Loving myself through my breakdowns.
Yes.
Loving myself through my perfect imperfections.
Yes.
Loving myself through all my humanity.
Yes.
And the last word would be possibilities. And unlimited possibilities. That I have decided that everything that I've ever dreamed is available to me if I choose to believe that there are unlimited possibilities for me. It's more than just 2 choices for me. This is the world.
It's not black and white.
It's not, and it
it's
never
gray.
And it never was.
It never was. Never was.
There were always choices, but like you said so beautifully, that most humans don't get to that point of self-actualization where you can actually step back and look at the horizon and see what are the things available to me. And so, yes, absolutely. Those are my words.
So much. Tell everybody where they can find you online.
You can find me on Instagram. I'm at Jacques_Sterling Lifestyle. Instagram is my most popular social media outlet.
Okay, so that's where I'll send everybody.
Right now. So and it was a pleasure to be in this magical experience. I love you, DJ.
I love you too.
In front of the world, I just wanna acknowledge you for being such a tremendous support, such a tremendous light for me personally. Such a tremendous supporter. When you smile, your entire aura, you have this aura that lights up the world. I've been following you forever. The Queen of Shade, and like all of my circle, my friends, my daughter Ashley, we love the Queen of Shade. You have the best one-liners, you have the best read on the planet. No, only you, girl. Only
What'd you say? She was so good, she trademarked it.
Right?
She was so good, she trademarked it. That's exactly what happened.
But keep being fabulous. Keep doing everything that you're doing. And just know that you inspire me, you inspire us all. And I can't
Right.
wait to see what you create this year. And when you do open your modeling
Yes.
agency, whether it's Dubai, Paris,
I'm like,
Madrid,
oh,
Barcelona, Fiji, girl, I'm there. I'm there if I gotta
yes.
swim there, walk there, whatever. But I will be walking for you. That's all I know.
Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot coming. There's a lot coming, Jacques.
And I'm ready for it
There's a
all.
lot. And I'm just, and what's so crazy is right now, I'm just pacing myself
Mhm.
because there's a lot. There's a lot coming. I'm in talks with a lot of people worldwide to do some things. And it's just things that I never thought were going to be available to me. But like you said, you change your perspective, you change your life.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what happens. So now it's like, oh, well, come here and oh, come here. Like, you know, it's just, it's so crazy. I was interviewing a haute couture designer from Spain the other day, and he sent me a couture priceless outfit. Priceless.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on the way to me. And I'm just like, who? I every day I go downstairs and I ask my grandmother, who is this bitch? Who is she? Someone tell me.
Somebody
Who
let
this
me
bitch
know.
think she is? Like, you
Yeah.
know? But
I
thank
hear
you
you.
so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the vocal stylings of Mr. Jacques Whitfield.
Thank you so much.
You're
See
welcome.
you.
Stay right there. Say bye, and I'm going to stop it.